Hey everybody, so I got a unique topic today. So I wake up this morning and first thing I always do is kind of check my YouTube and see like what guys I'm following have posted. So the first thing I see is this Rich Piana slapbox Jason Genova. I'm like, what the hell is this? Well, I think the first one I read was just that Rich Piana slap Jason Genova. I'm like, holy crap, this go down. Then I actually watched the video of Jason coming up to him. Rich recognizes him, says like, you're the Order 66 guy. And then he's like, and then they talk about it pretty civil. Then Rich was like, you know what, like you can't keep doing this to people, like you're ruining social media for people, like it's not good. And like I'm kind of upset. How about we slap box it for 30 seconds? And Jason's like, yeah, sure. And even the cameraman's kind of egging him on and everything. And 30 seconds, Rich and Jason kind of slap back and forth a little bit. And I'm watching this thinking, man, this is kind of funny, and then afterwards, Rich gives him like a big hug and everything, and they chat some more. I'm like, awesome. That's kind of like, Rich does it, and then and then everything seems good. Jason's laughing the entire time, and it goes without saying that Jason has a couple learning disabilities. For anybody that does follow him, you'd recognize that pretty early on. So I thought, that's kind of cool. Like the way I saw Rich treated him like an equal. That's how I think he would treat anybody in that situation, and didn't like look down on him. I'm like, awesome, so that's done. I go about my day. Then like next, I check my stuff later on when I get updates, and suddenly everyone's doing these responses that they're horribly offended by it. And like I follow a lot of guys like Mark Lobliner, BioS3 Raw TV. Nathan Figueroa is actually Figueroa, I think, is actually one of Jason's buddies and stuff like that, and they're all going on about it, and they're all horrified this happened. Like, how could Rich do this to Jason? And I'm like, it looked like it was all fun and games to me. And so like I've watched a couple of the videos where everybody is so horrified. Like some people are like, you know what, no, this isn't as bad as people think it is. People are overdoing this a little bit. Then I watched like Louis Marco actually interviewing Jason and Rich separately, of course. Rich says all in fun games for the most part. I haven't watched all of it yet because there's part 2 I need to see still. But I watched him interviewing Jason, and Jason the entire time is going, Rich could have seriously hurt me. No shit, but he didn't. Like the entire time he's going off. He could have really hurt me if he wasn't careful. Yes, he could have really hurt you. He's not. He was being careful though. And a lot of people said that Rich looks really angry at that. You gotta remember, Rich has like actually dermal implants around his eyes. I don't think the guy ever doesn't look in some way a little bit aggressive. Like you can actually see the videos on YouTube of him getting the implants put in. And like like just the way his eyes can shape, I find he always looks like aggressive when he's in a happy mood. Like I've met the guy, as I talked about in an earlier video, and like I'm not trying to defend Rich. I'm not trying to attack Jason like that. I'm trying to say I think that the situation was well handled. I think he treated him like an equal. Didn't talk down to him, but got the issue handled. And I think that's what really mattered. Like he said his piece. Like this little slap bad, made him feel better. Like I said, Jason was laughing about it the entire time. His cameraman's egging on. And the first actually the video I saw was his cameraman was horrified by this. He's like, oh yeah, well I was behind the camera. I couldn't really comprehend what was going on. What? You were there. You watched this happen. But whatever. Maybe that's possible. I've never really worked a camera that much, so maybe that's just how it went. But yeah, I think like I can't believe how big this issue went to the point where my wife calls him at work and she's like, have you seen like Rich's Instagram and stuff like that? Because it got out of hand. I don't want to get into that part of it or anything like that, the stuff that Rich said. You can look at Instagram yourself. But like my wife doesn't really follow YouTube very much and stuff like that. For her to hear about these people she's never heard of, and it's become this huge thing literally within 24 hours of it happening. Like it just blew my mind a little bit. So yeah, that's just my piece on it. I just wanted to throw out there. I don't think it's as bad as everyone said it was. Like he treated him like an equal, and Jason always goes on saying, that he doesn't have any mental problems and that he's normal and everything's fine with him. So if that's what he says, then there's nothing wrong with how Rich treated him. That's how he would treat anybody else in Expo that would had a previous history with that. I have no doubt. So yeah, so like in Lou Marco's thing, he kept saying, oh yeah, but like he should have been easier on me, he didn't hurt him. the slaps were very light. You could tell by the way he hit him. He like pulled back a lot before he ever made contact. Anyways, this video, like, this channel probably isn't big enough to handle something like this, but I just wanted to throw my 2 cents on the topic and just from what I saw. And yeah, I think everybody's got to calm down a little bit. Anyways, this has been the Hebrew Hulk. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you.